Taymoor is now CEO and founder of Papier, and will be showing with us how Papier has built their customer-centric brand. And it's a brand that thrives on high-quality personalization. And actually, it's a brand we know well at Metro because we actually use your books, Taymoor, as you know, for giving to our new clients. When they come on board, we send them a pack of Papier books, all personalized to each of the clients. So it's a lovely thing to do. But anyway, please welcome Taymoor. Thank you.
Great. Thanks very much. Thanks for having me. So I want to talk to you a bit about Papier, obviously, tell you a bit about the story of how it all formed, how it's set up, and obviously then take you through a bit about how we see our customer, how we segment our customer, and the life cycle through the customer as well. So I set up Papier 3 years ago, just over 3 years ago, with a clear mission to become the global leader in design-led personalized products. And I think most people have come across personalized products. I think hearing some of the brands that have been named, personalization is becoming a core part of a lot of product offerings, whether it is Anja Heinmarsch or Sweaty Betty. And I think what I noticed is there's a clear problem in that customers love, or consumers love personalization. They love personalization in the products they buy. They also appreciate personalization in the services that they use, be it email. But actually, the customer wasn't being served well from an actual physical product perspective. The actual quality of products was often weak, and the design was often overlooked. So we set off on a mission to build a design-led brand that could serve the customer. And it's a big market, the personalization market. We started off the market in the personalized print space. And most of the products on that screen you can see are ones you'd be familiar with. Card and gift. The consumer in the UK spends more on cards than they do on tea bags every year. Photo books. I'm often asked, do people still print photos, and why would they? The reality is we're taking more photos than we ever have as a human, and there's always going to be a proportion of photos that people want to keep. And so photo books as an industry is booming. Kids' books. Physical books are back on the increase again. The market is growing, and kids' books are leading the way in that. And what we've done is create inspiring, design-led, personalized books and harnessing technology to enable the child to have that amazing experience. Stationery, the art of letter writing, is back again. Consumers often tell us how much they appreciate receiving a handwritten letter, especially in an age where WhatsApp and text proliferate our day-to-day communication. And finally, invitations and announcements. Despite e-cards and e-vites being in the market for well over a decade, the penetration of them is still under 5% for wedding invitations. The consumer still wants a great physical product. And what all our products have in common, and that's kind of what every new product development conversation we have in the office needs to make sure that we have the 3 pillars behind it, and that's great design, great quality, and personalization. So we ensure that everything we do has that at its core. And so what makes us different? This is definitely a market where we're not the only player participating. In cards and gifts, I think the most commonly known brand would be Moonpig, and most of you will have heard of the likes of Vistaprint. But what really makes us different is design, and being design-led is something that some brands will talk about, but we really believe is at the core of what we do, and it's not just at the surface. And being design-led means understanding trends, not just responding to them. It means appreciating the consumer's desire for aesthetics. It's about responding to the different design elements outside of our own world. It means looking at fashion, looking at art. And that's something that isn't just a kind of nice to have. We believe our consumer really cares about it. And so one of the ways we do that is through collaborations. And so over the course of the past 3 years, we've worked with and continue to work with a whole host of different brands through fashion designers like House of Holland, Matthew Williamson, and recently Mother of Pearl, who won the Vogue Fashion Fund. The V&A, a cultural institution, we have exclusive use of their assets across the whole establishment to use on our product. Illustrators and artists, some of whom are well known and others who we're promoting and sponsoring to become better known, and obviously big global brands such as Disney or Moomin. And so what we do is we license these assets, and we partner with the different brands and scale their assets across our different products. So whether it's a House of Holland dress on the catwalk that can scale onto stationery or notebooks, right the way through to Disney cartoons that can become part of a range of kids' products. And so as you can see, this is how we work with different design partners and artists to make it part of the Papier product. So that gives you a little summary of what we do and how we do it. I now want to talk a bit about the Papier customer and how we view the Papier customer and how we segment them. So obviously, it's always tricky talking about a core segment because I, for a start, fall outside the core segment as I'm not a female. But what we're going to talk about is what we see as very much the core target, and that's the design-conscious female who's, as you can see from the stats, our customers, over 2/3 are women, and again, are aged between 25 to 45. They care about quality, but at the same time, they care about value for money. They're not just brand loyal, they're brand tribal, and that means they have a go-to brand for different elements of their day-to-day lives. And for us, we want to be that customer's go-to brand for personalized products. They're considered and ethical in the sense that they care that we care about how we produce our products. They care that we don't wrap any of our products in plastic. They appreciate the authenticity. They want the product to be relevant to them and to be personalized, not just in the sense of the product being personalized, but actually recognizing their needs and their wants at that time. And these are some kind of images that kind of talk to that customer, but obviously Instagram is the primary channel for us at the moment. It's still the main channel where our customers seek inspiration. And I've just put out one statistic which kind of seems odd, that we've put 65% live outside London. It's an important statistic, and I think if there's one thing Brexit has taught us is to recognize there's a market outside London and not to live in a London-centric bubble. And I think it's very important for any brand, including our own, to really make sure we're not building a brand that caters to our own neighborhood if the founder or indeed the teams live in London. So well over half now of our customers live outside London. And the way we respond to our customers' need is we look across various calendars in their lives, and we look at it as three S's. We've got the seasonal calendar, and that's where we respond to their needs for Christmas, and that's primarily on gifting. Valentine's Day, Mother's Day, Father's Day, there are a whole host of seasonal occasions where our product and our categories become a core part of the proposition. We fit into the customer's social calendar, whether they're going to a friend's birthday, they want to say thank you for a dinner party, or they're congratulating a friend on a recent birth. And finally, we are a core part of the various stages of their lives, and that's where products such as the invitations and announcements come into play: weddings, births, christenings, and new home. So whenever we're thinking about not just coming up with new products, but our marketing as well, we try and understand where does that fit across these different calendars. And there are a whole range of touch points, both online and offline. Obviously, the website being the primary channel where they engage and visit us. Events, that's where one of the core areas and key parts, and we'll come to it later, how we engage with the customer in the real world. Partnerships, for us, partnerships come in two forms. They're either acquisition partnerships, and that's where we work with different brands to try and grow our customer base and try and find other relevant brands where our customers will have something alike. And other times it's a pure brand supportive partnership. So that's where perhaps we work with a brand where they only have a few thousand customers, and so the weighting is very different, but we actually believe that they will bring something to our brand that our customers will appreciate. Direct mail and physical physical product within the packages is very important. We are at the heart of it, a print business, and so that's something we really believe in, physical communication. Our favorite channel, of course, email, which we'll come on to later, is still the primary mode of communication for us, and we do send a lot of different targeted, segmented emails. An app for our most loyal customers, often it's the repeat users that will come through the app. Social as our main broadcast channel, and finally pop-up shops, another experiential way in which a digital brand like ours can speak to the customer. And so here's a view of how we kind of look at our customers and customer segments. We've got everything from the stationery addict, of which I hope there are some in the room, who live and breathe stationery, love the feeling of going into a new stationery, getting a new stationery and smelling the paper for the first time. Brides-to-be, Papier kids buyers who are buying either for their own kids or for nieces and nephews, photo book buyers, and so they are really segmented around the types of products that they're buying and the needs that therefore those come with. And you'll see on the right-hand side some of the various ways in which they're then also segmented by their purchasing behavior. Everyone from people who are at risk and haven't purchased in a while through to our most loyal VIP customers who get a whole range of benefits, including exclusive previews of some of the collaborations that we're doing. So we're going to focus on the bride-to-be. Here's another graphic. Typical stationery budget of around £500 as our wedding customer. They value creativity, they care about quality, and they're usually using either Pinterest or Instagram to get a lot of their inspiration for their wedding. So the journey that I'm going to take you through goes through five different stages, and I'll go through each one. Discovery of the brand. As an online, digital-only, direct-to-consumer brand, discovery is extremely important and extremely difficult. We have no physical presence, we have no shops, you can't come across us on a high street. So how a customer discovers Papier is key. Once that's the case, we get them onto the website, and that is, in real terms, our physical storefront. And it's important how we then get them from being a visitor to our website to actually trialing our website, which is the third stage. And that's just before purchase. At that point, we're still trying to get some Papier into the customer's hand, as opposed to getting them to make a full purchase. Hopefully, they then make that full purchase, and post-wedding is the final stage where they complete the kind of journey with us. So we'll start with discovery. I mentioned the parallel between us not having physical shops, and there are brands in this room who operate both offline and online. And I often find that online brands boast about how they don't have a physical footprint to pay for, and offline brands or retailers bemoan the fact that they have a huge retail footprint they've got to pay for. The real truth is what the digital online-only brand saves in physical stores, they pay for in digital acquisition. So there really isn't much difference between the two. What it means in reality is that brands like ours have to have some presence in the real world. And one of the ways in the bridal space is through bridal shows. And that's a way in which, for the first time, and every time we do a bridal show, we find customers who it's a bit like coming across a celebrity you've only seen on TV and then seeing them on real life. They point at the logo and go, that's who I saw on Instagram, or I've seen them on Instagram, and it's their first actual physical encounter with us as a brand. Partnerships is another way in which we can drive awareness, partnering with other brands in other spaces, be it in sport or food or whatever it is, to kind of bring awareness of another brand. We launched the Papier Atelier, which is our kind of home of events and workshops. Social and search, those are the two primary paid channels for us. We broadcast our message on social, and we pull in demand through search. And finally, word of mouth. Obviously, it's extremely key. You cannot create word of mouth. Your product has to do that first, but you can amplify it, and you can create tools that allow customers to spread that word of mouth. So I mentioned the Atelier events. We do everything from calligraphy workshops through to brush lettering, through to having in-conversation talks with some of the brand partners and designers and artists that we work with. Again, another way in which the Papier consumer can actually be in a physical space and experience the brand in real life. Visiting the website. So everything from making sure we have a landing page that works. The landing page isn't just the shop front, it's the floor plan. It's making sure that the customer can navigate through what they're seeing, and we can take them through exactly what it is we offer. It's at this point we take them through a nursery program, primarily through email, in which we're offering the different USPs of the website. Abandoned browse, often an overlooked type of marketing. It's something we do with Emetria and is highly effective. Remarketing at this stage, constantly getting the customer to remind them that they have visited. And finally, the fold, you'll see the logo there. That is the equivalent of what many brands will call their blog. I have a aversion to using the word just because there are so many bad blogs in the world. So we created a sub-brand called The Fold. The Fold has three purposes for us. It's a way in which we can use inspiring content to drive the customer to purchase. It's an SEO supportive play. It helps our SEO strategy. And finally, it's the creative hub at Papier. It means all our designers, illustrators can create beautiful content, video, and we can host it in a space where it can live and breathe independently and consumers can access it. So it's almost like a flagship in that respect. Trial. As a digital, online-only brand, it's really important. We sell paper. Our brand's called Papier. And when people talk about whether they want to buy from us or not, the first thing they say is they want to feel what the paper's like. So we have to find ways in which we allow sampling. And different brands do that, and furniture brands, I think there's some in the room, will have similar challenges. We offer sample packs, and for £1 with free shipping, customers will get a pack with different Papier products inside it, which they can trial. They get a concertina, which is the thing on the left, something they can actually stick onto their wall or fridge. It takes them through the timeline of the different products that they'll need to consider when they're going through the wedding. At this point, once they've got the sample, segmentation happens again. We know the customer has a sample. There's a series of emails that make sure they've got the sample, that we start to introduce to them the customer support. And for us, customer service and experience is really key. It's the point in which we're trying to get the customer to actually phone in or call or email us to ask questions about the different products that we offer. And finally, they make the purchase, and that's the point where it really is about surprising and delighting the customer. So really, for us, packaging, I think that's one of the core parts of what we wanted to show here, again, is part of that design-led experience. And the whole concept of unboxing, opening up, we use only tissue paper in all of our products and no plastic, is really part of the whole customer journey here. This is a customer opening wedding stationery, personalised stationery. And as you can probably tell, that's an advert, because our packaging and that experience of receiving a product is really a core part of the proposition. Once they've made a purchase, there is another follow-up email program, and that's based on what they've bought. If they've bought Save the Dates, we start telling them more about the wedding invitations and this matching wedding invitations that suit. If they've bought wedding invitations, we target them more with on-the-day stationery, menus, place names, table names. So really, the wedding customer for us and the wedding journey is probably the most complicated that we have in the sense of the number of channels and trees, and that's one of the ways we use Emetria to target that. Post-wedding, so obviously we're a business that loves the art of letter writing. We still write a congratulations card from customer service and customer experience, and we split that around the whole office periodically to congratulate people on their wedding. Once again, we follow up with emails. At this point, we're promoting the post-wedding purchases. That's thank you card sets, and also now photo books, a product that we recently launched. We also encourage them to review Papier and share that. And thankfully, we get a good number of reviews. And some of the reviews talk to the different elements that I mentioned. The fact that the customer can order samples is often referenced by the customer. The fact that everything came beautifully wrapped up. The whole process being easy. And again, talking to those core elements of the consumer at the beginning and our target customer, value for money. It's something that the modern consumer, whether it's in fashion or holidays, is more now than ever before is looking for. And obviously, the journey doesn't stop there at Papier or in life. And 9 months post the wedding, typically, sometimes longer, sometimes shorter, the Papier bride-to-be may become a Papier Kids buyer. And again, our email segmentation will also look at the different elements that they're browsing and whether at what point they start to browse kids. And the Papier Kids buyer has a wide range of products to look at and to look for. So this is where we do everything from birth announcements, christening invitations, the Papier personalised children's book, congratulations cards, and photo books. And so I hope what I've shown is that what we find at Papier and what's core to our business is really not only understanding our customer, but really recognizing the different touch points that they are interacting with us and the different stages of their journey at Papier, right the way through seasonal, social, and different stages of life. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Taymoor. That was fabulous. I love the, brand tribal is what it's all about. And so we've got a few minutes, obviously, after most of the talks, with some questions. So, I just wanted to kick off with one, actually, before we open it up to the floor. But, you talk about brand tribal, and clearly you're doing a lot to engender loyalty. I love the way that, you're handwriting these congratulation cards after weddings and so on. But have you, what's your experience of loyalty programs, sort of proactively kind of either incentivizing or rewarding people to make repeat purchases? Can you talk a little bit about how you manage that?
Yeah, sure. So you saw earlier on, we have a group of customers which we classify as VIP customers. That, for us, what makes a VIP customer is not spend. We have customers who spend thousands of pounds once. That for us is a high spending customer. A VIP customer is a combination of people who maybe spend, who repeat frequently, and who advocate the brand. And what we find with incentivization or at least rewarding loyalty is it's not always about promoting or discounting. I think all customers do appreciate a discount or a promotion. And so that is part of our program. But we've also looked at other ways of promoting or rewarding loyalty. Most recently, we created a limited edition number of Papier-designed tote bags. And what we did is we reward a lot of the customers who kind of have been coming back for a long time with these tote bags. The demand for the tote bags was far exceeded any promotion we've ever run. We had 8 customers call in irate because we'd actually kind of run out by the point at which we kind of announced it. We had to order more to accommodate it. And it's often a bit like sending a card. It's not very expensive, but it's thoughtful. So it's often the more thoughtful rewards that actually the customer appreciates as opposed to 20% off, which undoubtedly every other brand in their portfolio will also be doing. So, do we have some questions from the floor? I think is there some people wandering around with microphones, I guess. Do we have anything for Taymoor to kick us off? Okay, we have a gentleman in a blue shirt. Sorry, wait 1 second, we'll have a microphone. Ashley's just bringing a microphone over, thank you. So we can, thanks.
Thank you. I think you touched on it briefly when you were talking about digital acquisition costs, online versus offline. Can you talk about what inflation, if anything, you've seen in costs for Google, for Facebook? Are you seeing inflation in terms of your acquisition spend through those channels?
I think most direct-to-consumer brands are seeing, especially around social, the costs growing. I think there's a combination of factors at play. It's becoming more competitive. I think even in the past 3 years, the concept of a direct-to-consumer brand is becoming a lot more mainstream now. There's more direct-to-consumer brands, and the target segment that I put up there happens to be quite a popular target segment in terms of kind of what that customer brings. And we're not the only people on social targeting that segment of the population. So in short, yes, the cost is growing up. The only way to combat that is with efficiency and getting better at marketing. One of the things I often say is that it's great to be a company with a great product, but you also have to be a marketing company as well. And every direct-to-consumer brand needs to almost spend as much time thinking of how to market their brand, what channels, what content. I mean, the video that I showed is one of many videos that we produce in order to convey that message. And in short, the landscape is getting tougher, that's for sure.
Thank you. Any other questions for Taymoor? Okay, we have one in the... Okay, we'll start with the gentleman and then we'll come to you. Okay, thank you. One just right there. Thank you.
Could you talk a bit more about the importance of video marketing for your brand and how you convey the story through video marketing?
Sure. Yeah. So video is a key part of our marketing now. There's a number of reasons for that. One speaks to the earlier point around cost. Facebook and social, in short, are favoring video more and more, and therefore serving cheaper impressions. There is a downside to that, which is video, actual watch-throughs of videos are fairly limited. The other reason for that is we have a number of messages to tell at one time. We're trying to tell a story of great product, great design. We're trying to tell a lifestyle story too, and we're trying to show what that customer behaves like, looks like, and we're trying to get the customer on the other side of the screen to imagine themselves being part of that. We're showing unpacking, we're showing all of the, and in reality, to tell that many different messages at once is only possible through video. The old-fashioned way is to put 5 bullet points down, and that's kind of old-school marketing. There are imagery which you can use, but even the concept of personalization is a very difficult one to tell in a static image. You would have seen the personalized children's book earlier with a name saying Christopher on it. One of our most successful ads will just be that image, but the name changing each time. That's the easiest way to tell the consumer that they can personalize that product. So video is a very key part of allowing us to tell a very broad range of messages in one.
Okay, so we've got one more question. Time for one more question. Ashley, do you want to come? It's just on the lady on the table in the middle here. Thank you.
How did you sort of create your customer groups? What sort of data did you look at? Did you look at a variety of sources, or did you just look in one place to kind of say, okay, that's what our customer is?
It's a good question. There's probably a pre-GDPR answer to that and a post-GDPR answer to that. But so I think, well, there's a couple of points here, and I think I'd be lying if I said we knew exactly who our customer was when we built the brand, for a start. I think that's something that is very difficult to tell. And I think building a brand and building a business is about listening to the customer more than it is trying to force a brand onto them. But in terms of what data we use, so it's a combination. I think the demographic data, so age, etc., whether it's through Google Analytics or internal software, is important, but it's definitely not the most important. I think a lot of brands will get a bit too hung up on demographics, and we stop short of doing kind of income brackets, etc. I think that level, it becomes unhelpful. What's more important is segmenting the customer based on behaviors, and that's not only purchasing behaviors on our site, but also their behaviors outside of Papier. And social media is a great way of doing that. There isn't anything stopping you or a brand looking at who follows you. And I think a combination of looking through that, we have tools that can look through kind of what types of, what else they are following, what other brands do they look at. That's, you know, that tribal element is really important to see if we're the go-to for stationery, who's the go-to for yoga. And given Sweaty Betty's here, it's probably Sweaty Betty. But that's an interesting way for us to start understanding a bit more about who that customer is.
Great, thank you, Taymoor.
Thanks a lot.
Big round of applause. Great talk, thank you. Thank you.